Layoffs mount and entire industries teeter. Without tourists, America's biggest corporations face collapse. These are the top U.S. companies that will crumble if global travelers vanish overnight. The warning signs are no longer subtle. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the United States is on track to lose $12.5 billion in international visitor spending this year. That figure isn't abstract. It translates into shuttered hotels, grounded flights, and lost jobs across major cities. Data confirms the slide. Inbound tourism has dropped nearly 10% year over year, with March alone recording a sharp 14% decline in arrivals. The downturn is hitting iconic destinations first. In Las Vegas, hotel occupancy has slipped, and revenue per available room, or RevPAR, the industry's key metric, has fallen steadily, undercutting the city's economic engine. Newsweek reports similar struggles nationwide, from Miami to New York, where hotels are cutting forecasts and bracing for deeper losses. What begins with fewer international visitors quickly cascades into layoffs, reduced tax revenue, and declining investor confidence. These numbers reveal a blunt truth. America's tourism economy is bleeding billions, and the companies most reliant on travelers are already showing cracks. This is not a temporary dip. It's the early stage of structural collapse. When tourists vanish, the weakest links in America's corporate chain are revealed. Hotels are the first casualties. Marriott has already cut its full-year RevPAR guidance, signaling falling demand, while Hilton and Hyatt remain vulnerable due to heavy reliance on international guests. High-end visitors once filled their lobbies. Today, empty rooms slash revenue. Airlines follow close behind. Delta, United, and American depend on long-haul international routes. With fewer arrivals, these flights become unprofitable, forcing route cuts and job losses. Theme parks like Disney and Universal in Orlando are also buckling. International arrivals to the city are down 8%, erasing billions in ticket sales and merchandise. Cruise lines with slashed bookings and fewer port calls face cascading losses, impacting not only operators, but also the ports and vendors that sustain them. Travel platforms and agencies suffer next. Online booking sites, payment processors, and tour operators bleed revenue without global travelers fueling transactions. Retail, restaurants, and souvenir shops in Los Angeles already report a 10% drop in foot traffic. Even luxury brands with flagship stores in New York and Miami face shrinking sales as international shoppers disappear. When corporations collapse, the shockwaves don't stop at the front desk. The first and most brutal impact is on jobs. Tourism, hospitality, airlines, and retail together support millions of workers. As companies shrink, mass layoffs ripple outward. Flight attendants, hotel staff, taxi drivers, restaurant workers, all suddenly unemployed. Real estate markets in tourist-heavy zones are next to falter. Prime properties in Orlando, New York, and Las Vegas lose value as occupancy drops, leaving investors and developers with vacant towers and mounting losses. Municipal budgets, heavily dependent on hotel and tourism taxes, also suffer. Cities like Las Vegas and New York face sharp declines in revenue just as social service demands increase. Without tourist dollars, essential infrastructure, from public transit to local schools, feels the strain. The banking sector too becomes entangled. Hotels and airlines carry heavy debt loads. When cash flows collapse, loan defaults multiply. Credit markets tighten and lenders grow cautious, further choking recovery efforts. This chain reaction exposes how deeply U.S. cities and industries depend on tourism. What begins as fewer visitors transforms into a systemic financial crisis, pulling entire communities into the fallout. Behind every number, there's a company already living this collapse in real time. Take Marriott, for example. When the hotel giant cut its full-year RevPAR guidance, it wasn't just adjusting spreadsheets. It was signaling a structural downturn, fewer bookings, weaker international demand, and vanishing pricing power. What was once a reliable revenue engine is now a flashing red light for the entire hotel sector. Theme parks, long symbols of unstoppable entertainment, are also tightening their belts. Operators like Disney and Universal have seen international guest numbers slide, forcing management to cut capital expenditures. That means fewer new rides, postponed expansions, and less hiring, all signs of a shrinking future rather than a growing one. Cruise lines are facing even harsher choices. With bookings down and port calls slashed, some operators are mothballing ships entirely, pulling billion-dollar assets out of service. Each idle ship isn't just lost revenue. It represents thousands of jobs erased, supply chains disrupted, and regional economies deprived of tourist inflows. These case studies reveal the pattern clearly. Across industries, iconic brands are already downsizing. Collapse isn't speculative. It's happening sector by sector in plain sight. Beneath the economic headlines, deeper forces are tightening the noose on U.S. tourism. Stricter immigration and visa policies have already begun to undermine traveler confidence. According to the College of Natural Resources, longer processing times and heavier border enforcement discourage visitors before they even book a flight. Fewer approvals mean fewer arrivals, leaving airlines and hotels scrambling. At the same time, federal support is waning. Newsweek reports that Brand USA, America's national tourism marketing program, has faced significant cutbacks. With less promotion abroad, the country loses ground to competitors aggressively courting international travelers. Currency pressures only deepen the crisis. A strong U.S. dollar makes American vacations far more expensive, effectively pricing out middle-class tourists from Europe, Asia, and Latin America. For many, it's cheaper to choose Canada, Mexico, or Southern Europe. And then there's the 2025 Canadian boycott of U.S. travel. Border states like New York, Michigan, and Washington, once reliant on steady cross-border traffic, now face sharp declines in hotel stays, shopping, and dining. Together, these political and economic headwinds accelerate collapse, turning a revenue decline into an existential threat for America's tourism industry. Amazingly, even in collapse, a few players find ways to bend, not break. Luxury hotel brands stand out first. With clientele less sensitive to price hikes, properties like Ritz-Carlton or Four Seasons can weather downturns better than mass-market chains. Their guests are fewer in number, but higher in spending power, cushioning losses. Regional and domestic-focused airlines also gain relative stability. While international carriers bleed revenue, airlines specializing in short-haul U.S. routes maintain passenger flow from domestic travel, weekend trips, business commutes, and family visits that don't depend on foreign arrivals. Digital and virtual travel services offer another survival path. Companies invested in online experiences, booking tools, or augmented reality tours pivot faster than those locked into heavy physical infrastructure. Demand may shift, but their platforms remain relevant. Finally, asset-light models like property rentals prove more resilient. Unlike cruise lines or mega resorts burdened with billion-dollar assets, companies such as Airbnb operate with flexibility. They scale up or down quickly without carrying the crushing overhead of idle ships or empty towers. These survivors won't escape unscathed, but by pivoting, they can resist total collapse and redefine tourism's next chapter. If global travelers keep vanishing like this, the question isn't whether companies collapse, but how many fall and how far the damage spreads. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments.